Hello, Dave.
Hello, Matt. How you doing?
Better than most.
Good. Not as good as some.
Not as good as some.
All right. Before we get rolling here, it's George Floyd was the guy that was killed by Derek Chauvin, right?
Correct.
Okay. I can never remember if it's Floyd George or George Floyd.
In my head, I just went, Boy George. It's Boy George. No, it's not Boy George, Matt.
No. Okay. I really like the graphic here. The Cerebus the Aardvark sound cartoon.
So I made that in January when Mickey went public domain. I correct myself. I made that for Kurtz versus Kurtz when I made the video of I took all the panels of Steamboat Cerebus at the wheel that Birdsong had made, and I edited them into a video and looped it so that he's dancing at the wheel over and over. And then I have a version of The End by The Doors where it's only 6 minutes, and it's the Apocalypse Now version. So I made that for that video, and then at the beginning of the year when Mickey went public domain, I repurposed it for Please Hold for Dave Sim, and last month and the month before I brought it back up again, and now I'm like, well, I'll just keep using this as this is the beginning.
Right. Okay, it's all coming back to me now. Yeah, very clever. Very, very much appreciated. I also have to mention here that we had something happen with this Please Hold for Dave Sim that we haven't had before, which was you faxed through all of the questions, but when you faxed them through, my printer was running out of ink. So I have zebra stripes through everything, and consequently, it's like every fourth or fifth line is missing. So I'm going to have to read what I've got and then say, okay, now there's a line missing here. Do you have the original copy there to refer to?
Okay. I will see what I can... I don't have an original copy, but I do have all the questions that were emailed.
Okay. All right. Because it says here, you, Jeff Seiler, memories, if you sing cats, ... and then there's a line missing. And then there's whatever order you want them in, but present it here to jog Grandpa's memory.
Oh, that's the stuff that you faxed.
Okay, so there isn't a line missing there after if you sing cat.
No, there shouldn't be.
Okay, because it sure looks like there is. This is going to get very, very confusing. But we will persevere. We will persevere. Okay, I thought I was going to have a Jeff Seiler memory for everyone, and I went to the Wi-Fi place to check the internet on George Floyd's passing, because this was what I was curious about. I forget what the exact date was. I believe it was in 2020. And what I was interested in was Jeff Seiler's location, and we can have at least a visual on that. If you can go on to the Google Earth street scene and enter Jeff Seiler's address, his last address, where he was living on the second floor. And we can show people this is where Jeff Seiler was living while most of these memories of Jeff Seiler were being made. And then what I was going to do was go to the George Floyd Wikipedia page, which I assume there's pretty extensive information, and say, okay, here's where Jeff Seiler was. Google Earth of Minneapolis. Where was it that George Floyd died, murdered by Officer Derek Chauvin? And then what I was going to talk about was the really extraordinary thing for me at the time was, and I was talking to Jeff reasonably frequently, probably once a month. Maybe it wouldn't be every month, but some months it would be 3 or 4 times a month. So I was talking to him after George Floyd's death, and that was when he was telling me that there's riots going on downtown here, and the rioters, the protesters, surrounded the Minneapolis police headquarters, and the police abandoned the building and left it to the protesters, who went in and basically torched the place. And I remember Jeff telling me, police headquarters in downtown Minneapolis is about a city block square. And as strange as everything was getting in all of our lives with COVID-19 by that point, this took it orders of magnitude in my personal reaction to say again, Houston, what are you talking about? And it's like the protesters surrounded police headquarters, and the police abandoned the building, and the protesters went in and basically torched the place. Which I don't know if you ever heard any more about that. I certainly didn't hear any more about that after it happened. And my question at the time was, who ordered this? Because, the police are like the military. It's you don't abandon your headquarters unless you are really, 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 really in an extreme situation. I was sitting there going, well, okay, you're not going to attack the protesters, but you should send in the National Guard to help the police defend their headquarters. And that didn't happen. And I remember asking Jeff at the time, who ordered this? And Jeff basically saying, beats me. I have no idea. It's just on the news that this is what happened. And this all came back for me when Tim Walz, who was the governor of Minnesota at the time and the current governor, was nominated for vice president by the Democrats. And I went, was this a Tim Walz decision? Because I was trying to picture in the chain of command, if protesters are surrounding your police headquarters and you're going, okay, what are we supposed to do now? If it wasn't at the governor's level, like the governor's office would have to sign off on this and would have to say, here's what you're going to do, abandon the building. And so it all of that from the time, and as I say, it was a really extraordinary. This is getting weirder and weirder and weirder. On top of the Jeff Seiler as manifestation of the Master of Dreams with Joseph and whatever else, and that link to Neil Gaiman and Sandman, and I'm going, okay, it's I thought this was already pretty weird, but this is now going not only from local news to state news to national news, it's international news. It's all over the world, and then everybody just suddenly stopped talking about it. So if you can find visuals to cover that are there news photos of police headquarters in downtown Minneapolis being torched, the protesters surrounding it, and where was police headquarters relative to where Jeff is? Because I was getting pretty close a couple of times to going, Jeff, I don't know how you're doing all of this, but I think you're the one doing all of it because it's all happening around you. So that's my memory of Jeff Seiler for this go round of Please Hold for Day 7.
My brother's best friend lives in Minneapolis, and if I remember right, after the fire had happened and been put out, he had driven past and took pictures. And I want to say that they abandoned the headquarters, and after the fact, there was investigations of who decided what when, and it very much was the buck doesn't stop here. Like, everyone in the chain of command who would have possibly been the one to give the order didn't give the order officially. It was kind of a okay, this happened and somebody's head's going to have to roll and no one's head is available. It was one of those. Well, it was the mayor, and the mayor's going, no, the mayor's office, it was, we were discussing what we were going to do, and the next thing we knew, the building was empty. And it was the chief of police, and the chief of police says, no, I take my marching orders from the mayor's office. And then, and it was, right. It was all circular of whoever was supposed to be getting the blame. It was, no, we were discussing it, but we didn't make a formal decision before it was abandoned. And my brother's friend was kind of like, yeah, I fully expect that this is going to get really interesting as the investigations continue. And then I think it was one of those, eventually it was just okay, we're not going to worry about this now. We're going to worry about the 14 other crises that have popped up since that. Right.
Move along. Nothing to see here.
We will poke through the fire to find out what started it after all the other fires are out.
And as far as we know, that's where we still are to this day. And I'm just kind of hoping that somebody will ask the nominee for vice president, can you go back in time, Governor, and let us know what your perspective was on it, and is there any paper trail on this? And do you recall who in your office was in charge of either making the decision or, as the mayor experienced, suddenly being gobsmacked by the decision?
Right.
So there you go. Your mission, if you decide to accept it, is to find visuals to cover all of this.
I'm sure I'll get something.
I'm sure you will. We have every confidence in your abilities.